Florida Live starts now.
Well, good afternoon to you and welcome into Florida Live. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon, live on Fox Local, YouTube, and on Fox 35 TV. It's been a busy afternoon. We've been live streaming on Fox Local for the last 3 hours, and we appreciate you joining us here. We've been listening in to President Trump taking some questions inside the Oval Office after announcing a deal with some drug makers of those popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Here's what we have, though, coming up in the show this next hour here for Florida Live. A Tampa native back on the Baseball Hall of Fame ballot. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit with Mark Topkin, a writer with the Tampa Bay Times. Congressman Byron Donalds joins us. We had the chance to speak with him earlier today about the 2026 governor's race. Another candidate making the announcement later today. That would be Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings on the Democratic side. But Congressman Donalds joining us today for a conversation about the governor's race and some topics with that as well. But the big story today, tracking a number of flight cancellations that are expected across the country as the FAA announces plans to cut air traffic amid the ongoing government shutdown, day 37 of that, continuing to see growing impacts. And joining us live now via Zoom is Fox 35 News reporter Hannah MacKenzie, who has been looking at this from the perspective of Orlando International Airport. We know a very busy airport right here in our area, one of the busiest in the country, Hannah. There are reports that MCO is on this list to see these air traffic reductions, but MCO says they still haven't gotten official word of this. Where do things stand right now?
So MCO, like you said, Garrett, has said that the FAA has not directly reached out to them. However, all of the lists we have received show that MCO is in fact included in one of these 40 airports across the country that are being asked to cut back greatly on air traffic. And when we say 10% of air traffic here, that doesn't mean total. The FAA is actually asking airlines, every airline, to cut back on 10% of their flights. So we're looking at even a larger number here. And Garrett, as you mentioned, MCO, obviously a very busy one. Someone I spoke with, assistant professor over at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, actually told me that MCO is very different when it comes to airports. It's one of only 2 in the country that's considered a large airport for destination travelers. So when you take that into perspective here, that is not a main hub typically when it comes to international travel. People coming here to Orlando, they have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more wiggle room. Maybe you're coming here for vacation or for a tournament or, just to do a parks type of trip. So there is a little bit more wiggle room here at MCO. So that assistant professor told me, or associate professor actually told me, that he's thinking that MCO will likely see less impacts than perhaps maybe Houston or, Atlanta, where those flights are going to be, very much based on hubs, just getting to international travel with lots of connecting flights back and forth. Orlando has a lot of direct flights, which that is also on the positive end here. Garrett, I also actually spoke with a man who is in Houston right now. IAH and the hobby are also on the list of the 40 that are going to be asked to cut back. He is in the process right now of trying to figure out what he is going to do. His son has a paintball world competition here in Orlando. They made it to the finals, the championship. It's next week. They're supposed to be flying out on Wednesday, and that championship is happening on Thursday. But with all of this going on, he doesn't know if they should actually take a day before off and drive in instead, because they're just so unsure of what is going to go on with the flights. And even if they do make it here to Orlando, Garrett, he's worried about the come home, the return flight as well into Houston, because as I mentioned also, those airports in Houston, those 2 main airports in Houston being impacted by all of this.
Well, I think that's the big thing here is the uncertainty. It makes it really hard for folks to plan, and even folks who maybe already have those flights booked, like you're talking about. They've got questions about whether their flight's going to get cut or that kind of thing, and so you kind of have to think through the process of whether it's easier to drive or in some cases not go at all, and that's something that could have an economic impact on an area like ours.
And I'm glad you said economic, because it's not just, the areas that might see an economic impact. For instance, the man I spoke with today in Houston, there's a group of 16 of them. They have all paid for their flights, and I don't believe they're returnable or refundable tickets. So if they end up having to drive instead, or making the decision to drive instead, now they're going to have to rent cars and forgo, any money they've spent on those tickets already, Garrett. That mounts up big time.
Yeah, a lot of questions about what this is going to look like as the government shutdown just continues to drag on. Fox 35's Hannah MacKenzie joining us live in the field this afternoon. We appreciate you joining us here on Florida Live.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
And it is day 37. It is the longest government shutdown in history at this point. One of Florida's senators, Ashley Moody, spoke on the Senate floor just a little bit ago about the government shutdown and where things stand right now. And she expressed some support for what for how she termed it, reimagining the filibuster if this government shutdown continues.
I've committed to donating my own paycheck during the shutdown to a crisis center back in Florida. And I'm glad to know there are others that have committed to donating their pay during this time to help others. The American people did not send us here to let the government shut down and stop working. And our colleagues that are forcing this upon the American people and on our workers do so against the will of the people, against those that put them in office, against the wishes of even workers' groups that have historically supported Democratic candidates. We were sent here to do important work and govern in good faith on behalf of the people. Americans should be furious at the display of recklessness with their country. I understand the president's frustration. I understand our leaders' frustration. I am livid. I've been here 10 months. It is no wonder people across America hate D.C. We have much work to do to make this country stronger and safer. So I urge my colleagues to end this shutdown. Stay here until we get it done. Stay here until we pass the clean continuing resolution so we can continue the people's work. And while we're at it, let's pass legislation to make sure this cannot happen again. We could start with the No Budget, No Pay Act, meaning none of us here in Congress get paid unless we pass a budget and fund the government. That's common sense. Senators and representatives shouldn't be paid until Congress does its base level job. We should also pass legislation to make sure that those in Congress don't leave D.C. until we deliver and we keep government functioning. That's why I'm co-sponsoring the Eliminate Shutdowns Act and other legislation that would make sure this does not happen again and ensures that our government remains open. And those heroes that put their lives on the line for us get paid. We owe it to the American people to ensure the government remains open, and we should not have another shutdown period. 37 days of chaos, uncertainty, and dysfunction is a disservice to the Americans we are here to represent, and this must end. Government must work for the people. If showboating politicians begin sabotaging the very operation of our government, corrupting rules, warping those rules' intended use to satisfy a subversive agenda, all options need to be on the table. Those options can take many forms, but this cannot continue. And maybe I should put this in terms that even my Democratic colleagues can understand. Maybe the Senate needs to reimagine the filibuster. Let's make Congress work again. And until we can do that, maybe we need to lock Congress in the Capitol until that happens. No bail, no revolving Capitol door. Let's get it done, Mr. President. I yield back.
Senator Ashley Moody there talking, also mentioned the filibuster. There has been talk about the Senate Republican leadership getting rid of that and using what is termed the nuclear option to pass a funding bill that would just require a simple majority instead of a 60 vote threshold there. President Trump has expressed support for that. We're going to take a break here on Florida Live, but we'll be right back. Live look at the air traffic control tower at Orlando International Airport. We were just talking about the potential impacts for cancellations of flights at Orlando International Airport. Certainly not the only airport in our area that is likely looking at cancellations. Welcome back into Florida Live. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us. It's time now for our Tampa Connection. For that, we go to Fox 13 Tampa Bay, and Fox 13 News reporter Evan Axelbank joining us with our Tampa Connection today. And Evan, we know the airport there in Tampa also bracing for impacts from this.
Yeah, good afternoon, Garrett. We got the bad news indeed. It's the news nobody wants to get, but certainly when you have a shutdown as widespread as this one, and it's going to affect lots of different areas of our economy and also every area of the country, and it appears that Tampa International is no different. It's on the list with 40 airports that are going to see flight reductions. The airport tells us they have not received any federal order yet. However, travelers everywhere could see the pain of this impending order. It's no surprise that TPA is on this list because according to Airports Council International North America, TPA is considered the 29th top airport by passenger volume in the United States. Nearly 25 million passengers came in and out of that airport, of this airport in 2024. And passengers we spoke to at the airport today say that they are stressed out, especially with the holidays coming up.
Even if your home airport is not one of the busiest, you may connect through one of the 40 that sees a reduction. And travelers are stressed, especially with the holidays.
If it gets into the coming months, I'm going to be pretty bummed out, and I have a lot of family in other countries and stuff, so it'll be a little disappointing for sure.
And while we don't know which locations are impacted, according to Airports Council International North America, Tampa International is considered the 29th top airport by passenger volume in the United States in 2024. with nearly 25 million passengers coming in and out of the airport. The airport told us.
So major impacts there, Evan, from folks that passengers, when you're a passenger at an airport this time of year, you really don't need anything else to be more stressed out about. But here we are.
It's something that's just beyond people's control, and it's even beyond control of the people who work at these airports. And so it's just a matter of waiting for the federal government to get their act together. I was at a line at a food bank in the city of Tampa just a couple of days ago, and boy, people are fed up. People who depend on food stamps are desperate for those food stamps to come through, for those SNAP benefits to come through, and right now they're not. And every day that goes by, life gets more and more difficult. Aviation experts, have told us, though, that, as frustrating as it is a matter of safety. And the fact is, the more planes that are flying around out there, the more dangerous things can be, just given the nature of the airline industry.
All right. Our second story in the Tampa connection, and that's St. Pete looking at a proposed tourist toll.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, sorry about not having the mic on before. Hopefully it's a little bit easier to hear me now that I'm wearing the microphone. It's one of the basics. Yeah, it's one of the basics of this TV business that hopefully I'll remember each time one day. Anyway, tourists could soon have to pay to drive onto St. Pete Beach because the mayor there is proposing what they're calling a tourist toll. The mayor says it's a bold way to fix crumbling infrastructure like roadways, sewers, storm drains, and it could generate millions of dollars each year to go towards those things. Anyone who does not live or work on the island would pay a small access fee at each of the city's 3 main entry points. Residents and business owners, though, will, of course, have priority access. There are things in the way, though, and one of those is that FDOT owns Gulf Boulevard, which means that St. Pete Beach can't legally charge drivers. Now, that is going to be the question there is whether FDOT would go along with this plan, and the mayor says that he already talked with FDOT, and the state may be open to transferring the ownership of the roadway after resurfacing is done there. The mayor has a 7-point plan that would help this aging infrastructure, like raising parking rates, updating city fees, and also coming up with other new revenue plans. Some commissioners say the plan needs more research, though. The vice mayor said that this could crush their business community. She worries that while starting with a modest toll could be, potentially reasonable for them, it could get more expensive as time goes on and costs continue to rise. Right now, the idea is only a proposal. City attorneys are going to have to take a look at it. And then, of course, the state of Florida will have to weigh in as well to see as to whether they would transfer ownership of that land to the city of St. Pete Beach. They plan to revisit this in a couple of months. So that's interesting there. It's just something that a lot of these communities deal with. These are small governments with not very large revenues, and they need to find every way possible to keep their infrastructure up to snuff, which is tough for even the biggest cities.
Yeah, and this is something that we could see more and more if we see property taxes go away as well. As
yeah, that's a great point, right? That's a great point.
Yeah,
listen, here's a name. Anytime I hear this name, you know what I say? Better him than me.
No joke.
Nick Wallenda, right?
Yep.
Nick Wallenda. The Wallenda siblings are going to be back on the high wire together in their hometown for the first time since 2017 after an accident injured Nick Wallenda's sister. Nick and Lijana will cross paths mid-air on Saturday, high above North Calumet Road in Sarasota. The Guinness Book of World Records is going to be there to witness it. As I said, better them than me. Nick called this a celebration of faith and perseverance because his sister was injured in a high-wire accident that injured several other people. They fell during a practice just days before they were set to perform an 8-person pyramid with Circus Sarasota in 2017. She broke every bone in her face and had internal bleeding. They were worried that she would not survive that accident, but she did, and now she's going to attempt this world record with her brother. The Crisscross Skywalk, they're calling it. The Crisscross Skywalk is going to begin at 6 o'clock in Sarasota, and we are certainly glad that she is back and doing what she loves. Best wishes to her, best wishes to that incredible family. As difficult and as scary as that might look, it is certainly entertaining, and they have a way about themselves that make it an enormously fun time to watch, and we certainly send our best wishes to them and our best of luck to them.
Yeah, it is impressive. It stresses me out just watching it, but it is impressive. There's no doubt about that.
That's it. That's it. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, Evan, we appreciate you.
All right. Yeah.
Time now for our Florida Live forecast, and we bring in Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Laurel Blanchard, who joins us live now. And Laurel, I don't know about you, I would not want to. There's no way I could do the high wire stuff like that.
Okay, listen, I don't have a problem with heights. It's the wire. First off, I can't even walk across a flat surface without tripping. Never mind getting across a wire like that. No.
I know, it's impressive. I don't think I would. I don't think I would ever try. I'm not afraid of heights either, but whew, that's just something else entirely.
Yeah, I'd watch for sure. I probably would be biting off my entire fingernail set, but yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, let's talk a little weather here. The supermoon yesterday was wild to see. It was huge, beautiful though.
Crazy. And something that we've actually gotten a couple questions about is why is it so big and why is it so orange? And just as it makes its way over the horizon, and then it kind of gets more white as it kind of lifts higher up in the sky. And it's actually all just an illusion. The atmosphere kind of acts as like a little bit of a lens, kind of making that moon look even bigger, and then it kind of gets the yellow tinge to it just because of all the sunlight reflecting off the surface. And then once it gets higher up, it starts to turn a little bit more of that white-ish color. So pretty cool stuff happening last night.
That's a great question and explanation there. But we know it also is bringing king tide to the area, and that can bring some more concerns about coastal erosion.
Yes, and if anyone has been watching, especially Florida's East Coast beaches over the past couple of hours, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. is when it's quite literally only going to be Daytona because there is going to be no beach. Taking a look out there right now, we're at low tide, but we're slowly going to be seeing those tides really pick up as we head through the rest of the evening. Right now in Daytona Beach, 77 degrees, and we're going to continue to see those tides pick up. We're seeing a couple of scattered showers down by the Tampa and Bradenton area, and we're going to continue to see a few more of those scattered showers kind of brush over Palm Bay and Cocoa Beach as we head through the rest of the evening. But going back to those king tides, we're going to be seeing that high risk of rip currents and pretty high surf at least through the weekend. So heads up, only go down to the beaches when it's low tide, because really there's not going to be any beach if you do end up going there at high tide. And again, high risk of rip currents, big swells of those waves. This sounds like a surfer's paradise, but if you're just going for like a nice day at the beach there, Garrett, it's probably not the best beach day for sure.
Yeah, like you said, not going to be a whole lot of beach, nowhere to sit. You're just going to have to kind of be there. So. But we are also bracing for these colder temperatures that are coming in.
Okay, this is going to look a little bit dramatic, but we're going to be doing a little bit of math here, Garrett, so I hope you're ready for this. I know your wife's a math teacher, so...
Yeah, she's the one who does the math. I don't.
Okay.
I'll do my best.
I'll have you remember a couple of numbers for me there. Okay, so this weekend, we're going to be seeing temperatures lingering throughout the low and mid-80s. Pretty pleasant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad.
Nice.
It actually is going to be a nice weekend, mostly cloudy skies, especially as we take a look at your Sunday. Maybe a spit shower here and there, but nothing crazy. That's the good news right there. Now, this is a graphic that we normally show in January, February, when it's winter and we see that much cooler air sink down. We're going to be seeing the polar vortex impact our temperatures, taking a look next week. So the polar vortex is a huge mass of cold air from Canada is going to be dipping down in across the Appalachian Mountains, and that's what's going to be dropping our temperatures significantly. So here's kind of an overview of what we can see. We're going to be seeing a front kind of bringing in some moisture, a couple of scattered showers here and there, taking a look at the weekend. And then this is Monday. This is when this cold front's going to be moving through. We're going to see a couple of scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm, but overall the main story with this is the cold, because after the clouds and the rain move out, that cold air just sinks into the region, and this is what's going to drop our temperatures significantly. So Garrett, remember those temperatures of what we were talking about for this weekend?
Yeah, 80s.
Yeah. This is what we could be looking at. So we're going to be seeing our normal high at around 79 degrees. And as that cold air just pushes into the region, we're going to see those temperatures just drop like a rock. And we're going to be seeing those highs on Tuesday of 64 degrees. So here's where that little bit of math comes in. We're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 80s on Sunday, dropping down into the 40s for lows. So you will need that winter jacket.
It's 20 degrees difference. Keeping track.
Very nice. And we'll even add another layer of that math on there because I kind of did a little bit of math before I hopped in here. We're going to be seeing those lows on Tuesday in the 30s.
Yikes.
In northern Florida. In Tampa, it's going to be around 40 degrees. Like, what? This is November? Almost kind of getting in mid-November, and we're going to be talking about a winter for basically a solid 48 hours. So here is the temperature difference of what it's going to be feeling like with the sunshine and with that wind really moving in. It's going to be feeling like over a 50-degree difference from our highs on Saturday and Sunday to our lows on Tuesday, just because of how strong that wind is going to get, how chilly those temperatures are going to get, but also just how nice this weekend is. So it's like a total 180 flip.
That is a cold shock. That is a good way to describe it, because and that's not just going from 80s to Florida cold. That's going to actual cold. Like no matter where you are, cold.
And we were talking a couple weeks ago, like when it starts to get chilly here in Florida, some people think like 70s is when it's time to put on the extra layer. No, this is going to be like the full-on winter coat that we're going to need Tuesday morning. But luckily, it just does seem like a little bit of a cold snap. Nothing lasting too much longer.
Short-lived.
Short-lived. Okay. That is the key message right there. But yes, it's going to be a cold shock for sure.
All right. Well, Fox 75 Storm Team meteorologist Laura Blanchard, we appreciate you joining us and giving us the bad news there.
Yeah, sorry, I had to do it to you on this Thursday.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this. A live look right now over downtown Orlando and Lake Eola on this Thursday afternoon. Welcome back into Florida Live. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon, live on Fox Local, YouTube, and on Fox 35 TV. In just a couple of hours, Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is set to hold his announcement rally at the Rosen Center on I-Drive in Orlando, where he's going to officially announce his run for governor. He announced earlier today, kind of released that information. He filed officially last week. So, and this has been something that we've heard rumblings about for a while, but he is now officially in the race on the Democratic side in setting up a Democratic primary against David Jolly, who we had on our program yesterday. If you missed that interview here on Florida Live, you can watch that right now on Fox Local. Now, earlier today, I had the chance to speak with Byron Donalds. He's a congressman, a Republican congressman. He lives in Southwest Florida from the Naples area. And he is one of the Republican candidates for governor. I had the chance to speak with him on Fox 35 News Plus and get his reaction to a number of topics, including Jerry Demings entering the race. This was my talk with Congressman Donalds earlier today.
This is something that's long overdue. This is why I support congressional term limits. We cannot have members either party be in Washington for that long, because they become addicted to power. You know, I've been in Congress now. This is my third term. When I ran for Congress back in 2020, I told my district, you get 10 years max out of me, and then I was going to move on because it's not meant to be forever. Nancy Pelosi is one of the most destructive speakers in American history. I mean, people need to examine what's going on in healthcare right now. Premiums are through the roof. Deductibles are through the roof. People can't afford the health insurance they have. And Nancy Pelosi was one of the key architects. And so as far as I'm concerned, it's about time that she left.
You talk about moving on. Your goal is to move on into the governor's mansion in Tallahassee. So let's talk a little bit about that. And I want to first talk about kind of big picture here on the Republican side of things in these campaigns, because with the elections that we saw on Tuesday, a good night for Democrats in several states. And I wonder if there are lessons to be learned on the Republican side from those results, or any adjustments to messaging as a result of what we saw on Tuesday night in some places here in Florida and across the country.
Well, there's always lessons to be learned. I would say the first one is your candidate, whoever they are, they have to be able to be in every room and campaign for every vote. When you're campaigning for office, I don't really care what level you're talking about. There has to be a no stone left unturned mindset. You have to be willing to go and have these direct conversations. I think too, grassroots organizing, being on the ground, turning people out, that is a core function of any election, no matter if it's a presidential, an off year like what we saw on Tuesday, or even in the midterms. But I think too, about the messaging going forward, you know, we have to be focused on affordability. Affordability is still an issue in America. It's a major issue in Florida, and the voters need to be fully aware that these affordability issues were created by radical Democrat policy, like a Nancy Pelosi, like the two gentlemen who were running on the Democrat side of the aisle to be the state's next governor. They supported all these radical policies, which have increased costs on the American people and on the people of Florida. And so what it's going to require in terms of leadership going forward are common sense, conservative economic policies that produce price stability, drive costs down, and allow people to be able to thrive and succeed here in Florida and throughout America.
I want to drill down more on that affordability issue here in just a minute, but Jerry Demings is expected to make his announcement at a rally later today. We know he officially filed and is in this race. You released a statement calling him woke and weak and wrong for Central Florida. What do you mean by that?
Oh, it speaks for itself, actually. Jerry Demings has supported transgenderism with boys and women's bathrooms, boys and women's sports. He spent the money of the money of Orange County to support DEI policies, more than $200,000. These are things that are not in lockstep with where the people of Florida are and what they want to see going forward. What Floridians want is a state that's still going to be committed to law and order, a state that's going to be committed to common sense economic policies that work for everybody, and that are committed to a strong economy. And so what Mr. Demings, his career has demonstrated is that he's far more in line with Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi than he is with Governor DeSantis and what people of Florida have been wanting to see and have actually been moving to Florida to be a part of. And that's the best state in the country.
I want to ask you about the potentially historic nature of the general election. If you are the Republican nominee and Jerry Demings is the Democratic nominee, it would be the first time there have been two black men facing off as nominees of major parties for the governorship. What does that mean to you?
What it means to me is that, we are a meritocracy. That's what it means. It means that people in our state, and frankly, people all across the country, we are more focused on what people can actually get done. What are the positions that they stand for, the positions that they believe in, and are they going to go fight for them? That's what it means. And I think that in our state, through my time in politics, but it's not just me, it's so many others, Florida is a meritocracy. We just want to make sure that you're going to stand for truth, you're going to stand for right policy, you're going to stand for common sense. And as long as you demonstrate that you can do that and you're committed to that, the people of Florida will support you. So that's what it means to me. Obviously, both being Black men, that would be historic for our state, but that would just be historic for the state. What it really means about Florida is that people just want competency to reign. They want a great state. They want that to continue. They want great opportunities for their kids, for themselves, and they just want to be able to live in a state that's the best in the country. And that's what we're going to provide and maintain as the state's next governor.
Let's talk affordability here, because you mentioned that being an issue that was on voters' minds on Tuesday. We know polling shows it as a big issue on voters' minds here in Florida. Many say that the state's going through an affordability crisis right now. How would you work with the state legislature to address that if you were governor?
We would be meeting nonstop to pull back the curtain and address every aspect of state and local government. Let me give you a few examples. Obviously, Governor DeSantis is pushing very hard for eliminating homestead property taxes in our state. This is something I do agree with the governor on. Looking forward to seeing his proposal and being able to support it. One of the other things around that proposal, we're going to have to make sure that our sheriffs, our firefighters, our emergency personnel, road maintenance, and a lot of those issues that local government has to deal with, that we can continue to pay for those, but we got to give people relief. Number two, insurance. Insurance rates in the state look like they're starting to come down. Auto insurance rates are starting to come down. It looks like some of the property and casualty rates as well. We have to continue those policies to keep those rates down and to drive them further. If you're anybody who pays a mortgage, if your taxes and insurance are equal to or higher than principal and interest, you have a problem. And in certain parts of the state, that is a reality. So we have to get those two under control. Number three, permitting. Local government permitting adds unnecessary costs to construction projects all through the state. Talk to any contractor, talk to any developer. If it takes you 2 to 3 years to put a shovel in the ground, what happens is you have dead money in those projects, and that dead money is not free money. It just ends up in the retail costs of whatever you're developing. So we have to have a modernization of all of Florida government top to bottom to bring the efficiencies necessary so you can squeeze unnecessary costs out of a lot of these projects. And those costs are really just government derived costs. It's not concrete. It's not copper. It's not labor. That's just government. And we have to get that out of the way. So those are three things as an example. But we have to do that, and we have to do much more.
You talk about the property taxes, and we know Governor DeSantis has criticized the way the House is handling this, where they basically had a bunch of proposals and are saying we're going to kind of see, what all of them do and what the voters might have to say about that. What do you think about that kind of strategy about this? And do you think that's a wise way to do it, or do you agree with Governor DeSantis on that?
Well, look, I would urge the governor and the legislature to sit down and put pen to paper and work this whole thing out. I think there's a real pathway to doing that. For something this monumental around the tax structure in our state, I think it's very important that everybody's on the same page. I know the House has their proposals. We'll see where they go. That still has to get approved by the Senate. So we are at the starting point here. Nothing is done. I know the governor is going to be releasing his proposal soon. I look forward to seeing that. But I think it's going to be important for the governor and the speaker and the Senate president to be able to get together, come up with one solution that can go in front of the voters. I think that's going to be critical.
Last thing here, Congressman Donalds, and we appreciate your time here. It is day 37 of the government shutdown, and there are a lot of families here in Florida hurting for a variety of reasons, whether it's SNAP benefits, whether it's working without a paycheck, whether it's being furloughed and so not receiving a paycheck right now. What is your message to those families who are finding themselves in a tough time right here in the Sunshine State right now?
My number one message is I am so sorry you are being caught up in the political games of Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats. They've had 14 opportunities to vote to reopen the government, and they have refused every single time. We have airlines all across America who are now going to put out notice about flight delays, and those flight delays are going to have major impacts for our economy. And then you have companies that do some work in part dealing with the federal government where they're not getting the money that they need for those projects that they've been doing so they can pay their people. This is incredibly unfortunate. I know my Republican colleagues in the Senate, they have put forward proposals to pay federal employees to actually be able to pay SNAP and WIC benefits, and that has been refused by Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats. So I would actually urge Mr. Demings and Mr. Jolly, they need to go talk to their Democratic colleagues in Washington, D.C., because this obstruction, just so you can score political points, is not working for the American people. It's not working for the people of Florida.
A conversation with Congressman Byron Donalds, a Republican candidate for governor, earlier today on Fox 35 News Plus. And here's a live look along International Drive, where in just a little bit, Mayor Jerry Demings going to announce his run for governor. We're going to take a break here on Florida Live, but we'll be right back. Welcome back into Florida Live. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. A Tampa native is back on the ballot for the Baseball Hall of Fame. We're talking about Gary Sheffield, who not only is a Tampa native, but he's a former Florida Marlin as well, back in the days when they were the Florida Marlins, not the Miami Marlins. He had 10 years on the regular ballot with the writers, was not elected into the Hall of Fame, but is now on the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee ballot. And earlier today, I had the chance to speak with Mark Topkin. He is the Tampa Bay Rays beat writer for the Tampa Bay Times, and we talked about Sheffield's case for the Hall of Fame.
These era ballots, there's a different one. It's a 3-year cycle. So it was kind of a cool thing for him that he got added to this year's instead of having to wait 3 years. It's tough to get on the ballot. There's a committee of historians and journalists and baseball people who sift through, hundreds of names essentially and narrow it down to the 8 that are going to be on the ballot. So just to get this far is an accomplishment, but obviously not the ultimate goal. And it'll be interesting because credential-wise, 509 home runs, that jumps out at you for Gary Sheffield. That used to be the magic number for making the Hall of Fame. The standards seem to have shifted a little bit in a couple different directions, but it's an interesting ballot because Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens are on it. They obviously got very little traction with the writers. They were on this ballot 3 years ago as well, didn't get much support. So be curious to see what happens with them. And then as far as where Sheffield's chances rank, I think Dale Murphy is going to get a lot of consideration. They had a longtime Braves star, Don Mattingly, who his career was kind of shortened because of injuries. And when he played, he was really good, obviously. And, kind of known as Donnie Baseball, one of those guys who just everybody seemed to like. So it's an interesting mix. There's a couple others on there as well. Jeff Kent, Fernando Valenzuela are among them as well. Carlos Delgado. I think probably, in my opinion, Sheffield, Kent, and then Dale Murphy and Mattingly. I would think those would be the top 4 vote getters, but it's a closed door committee that will meet also a mix of current Hall of Famers, baseball executives, a few historian or longtime media people on there. It's a group of 16. You need 12 votes to get in. And there's kind of sworn to secrecy of not saying how the debate went. You just get the vote totals for the top guys announced. And that'll all happen right in your backyard at the winter meetings in Orlando on December 7th.
And you were talking about how the process is a little bit different, and all of this coming obviously after Sheffield spent 10 years on the ballot and was not chosen by the writers. How do you think the committees maybe look at this a little differently than the writers do, or what do you think the perspective is like for the committee as opposed to the writers?
Well, I think maybe the best example I could give you was Fred McGriff went 10 years, another Tampa guy, and a guy who hit a lot of home runs and was really known for having a very sterling reputation as far as doing everything right over the years, a lot of consistency. He didn't make it and didn't get particularly close on the writers' ballot in his 10 years. And then his first year on the ERA committee ballot, he was a unanimous selection. So it is a different perspective, and it's an interesting because it's different groups on there. Like I said, there's usually 4 or 5 guys who are in the Hall of Fame. There's usually some team, high-ranking team officials or even an owner. Artie Moreno of the Angels was on the committee last time, and then a couple of more of the historian/journalist type. So it's an eclectic group, but yet they do look at things a little differently in this fashion. And sometimes you could say they can correct what they feel like the writers got wrong. And, the guys that are in the Hall of Fame, they also have a different perspective and I think a different standard that they hold players to.
Going to be interesting to see. And you talked about some of the numbers. Do you think he fits in the Hall of Fame?
I do. I mean, I think you can make a pretty good case with 509 home runs. He was a top 10 finisher for the MVP award. He didn't win one, but I think he had a second and a third. I think he was 6 times in the top 10. He played 22 seasons. I know there's still some question and some debate over if he was or wasn't involved with performance-enhancing drugs. He admitted to he was involved with the Barry Bonds Balco situation way back when, but Gary admitted to using something called the creams that he had no idea what it was told it was more from a trainer for a rehab thing. Used it very briefly, and it was very straightforward about it. And, I think he felt like he cleared that up in his mind and didn't do anything wrong. And then, there's just people, he was not a great defensive player. So there's certainly reasons you can find to suggest he wouldn't get in. But I think if you look at the totality of his career and the 509 home runs, I talked to him about it the other day and just paraphrasing it, he basically said, I know what I did. I know how I did it. I know where I belong. And I can't do anything else about it now. Whatever people decide, they decide.
Yeah, that's I guess the only way you can look at it as a former player. No longer in your control, and just kind of is what it is at this point.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And Gary was known also for being incredibly honest during his career, and would say pretty much what was on his mind, and didn't really care what was politically correct or what you're supposed to say or what doesn't go over well. And that was the same guy now at 56 years old. Just talked to him the other night.
Well, he had one of those signature kind of stances with the bat waggle that you just don't forget.
Yeah, I think if you talk to, that's one thing too, I would say you talk to pitchers who played in that era and you ask pitchers, even if you don't lead them to it, just who was the most feared hitter you faced. And a lot of them will tell you it was Gary Sheffield because of that bat waggle and how hard and the kind of ferocity with which he hit the ball.
Yeah, he was an impressive player. We're going to take a break here on Florida Live. We'll be right back. A live look at Inter & Co Stadium, the home of the Orlando City soccer team, and also the Orlando Pride. And it is the Pride who will begin their defense of the title tomorrow night in a game against Seattle Reign FC. The Orlando Pride, of course, the defending NWSL champions, hoping to defend that title this year. It would start tomorrow. They were able to clinch home field with a 1-1 draw against Seattle Reign in the last match of the regular season, and now they get set for that match tomorrow night. Fox 35's sports reporter Jonah Karp had the chance to speak with Seb Hines, the head coach, and midfielder Haley McCutcheon ahead of that game.
No, it's a big deal. Reason why cameras are here. It's postseason, tournament football, must-win games. We want to make it the most out of the home field advantage in front of our own fans. We hope that a lot of fans come out and turn up and support the team. So we're all excited for the prospect ahead of us.
Just approaching this game after playing Seattle just last week, now playing them again, how much do you think changed just in terms of tactics or anything like that, or how do you kind of prepare for a game that you literally just played last week?
Yeah, it's a unique situation. It doesn't come around often, probably only in this country that this happens, where you finish the season and then you go into a postseason and you're playing the same team. But yeah, it's exciting. We get to replay it. It becomes a bit of a chess match. What lineups present themselves, little nuances of how a team sets up. But yeah, it's fresh in our memories of like how Seattle played in the last game. They probably changed some personnel as well. And we have to be prepared for that. This is the beauty of the game. And it's the top 8 teams in the league going against each other. So we have to handle our business here on Friday. Hopefully win the game in 90 minutes and then go into the next round.
What would you say is the biggest difference from last postseason, being the favorites, being on top, going into this one where you are the defending champs but may not be seen as the favorite going into the postseason?
Yeah, without stating the obvious, obviously last year we were the number 1 team. We won the Shield, so there's that added pressure of, can you go again? Having so much success in the regular season, now going into the postseason, being the number 1 team, it's that added pressure at home. So yeah, we'll take the experiences that we had last year. We know that it's vital that you have that home field advantage. Teams coming to us and making it intimidating for the opponent. That doesn't change. But obviously we're in a different position. Obviously finishing in that 4th spot, but. Yeah, it's tournament football, home and away. It doesn't matter. You just got to handle your business.
Seb, you can't repeat unless you make the playoffs, and you guys did that. So how much do you fall back on an experienced group knowing what it takes to finish this thing off as you head into Friday?
Yeah, I think it's good experience that we went through those moments last year. You want to replicate those feelings of finishing the game and the joys of winning and going into the next round and going all the way to the championship. So that's our motive going into this game against Seattle, to replicate and replay those feelings of what we achieved last year.
They say one of the toughest things to do in sports is to repeat. Your road will be different this year, so you will, if you do, you will have really earned it. I mean, the satisfaction of trying to do this again.
Yeah, I think we earned it last year as well. It's going on such an incredible unbeaten run, going game after game and winning, and again, like I said, winning the Shield and then going on to win the championship. That you can't forget about those moments. But yeah, this pathway's been a little bit different. We've faced adversity. We've obviously went on a winless streak. We went on key players getting injured. We've had multiple road games. We've faced all these challenges, but we're in a fantastic position now, and so we can't take that for granted. Finishing 4th in this league and such a competitive league is a massive achievement. And again, going back-to-back playoffs as well is something that this club has never done before. So yeah, there's a lot of highlights, but I think the ultimate highlight for us, if we finish the season, is to win back-to-back championships.
So is the mantra maybe this week in preparation, we've done it before, we can do it again?
Yeah, but it's also different circumstances, different opponents, different sort of feelings of where we were last year and where we were at this year. Hopefully we get to host 2 playoff home games, which will be massive, but that's out of our hands. But yeah, going through those experiences of what it takes to win a championship is not easy. This is the most competitive league, and again, Seattle will want to play an upset on Friday, and that's understandable. We've been in those positions as an underdog, going into the favourites' home field and wanting to change the outcome and change the feeling of the home fans. So we know what's at stake, but we just got to control what we can control, and that's obviously going out there and winning the game.
Orlando Pride head coach Seb Hines talking about the Pride's path if they hope to defend that title. As he said, talked about winning the Shield last year, the best regular season record in the NWSL. They are the 4 seed this year heading into the playoffs. They've got a record of 11-8-7, and again, they begin the playoffs tomorrow night at home against Seattle, who is the 5th seed. So we certainly wish them luck and wish them the best. We will be cheering them on. Well, we are out of time for Florida Live here this afternoon, but we appreciate you joining us. We've been live streaming on Fox Local for the last 4 hours, as we do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we appreciate you joining us as we covered a lot of ground over these last 4 hours. We hope to see you tomorrow as well for more Florida Live. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. Welcome in to Fox 35 Weather Plus on this Thursday. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Laurel Blanchard here, and it is a very pleasant day out there. It is absolutely gorgeous outside today. A little bit more on the cloudy side, but we are going to continue to see a little bit more of that sunshine peek out as we head into the weekend. So a nice stretch of weather for the next couple of days, and then get ready for a cold shock to the system as we take a look ahead into next week. So that's mainly what we're going to be focusing in on today. We got our question of the day coming up, and so we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But we have your personal forecast here, right in your plans that you have for the rest of the work week or the weekend ahead, and we will give you a personalized forecast just for that. So definitely let us know what you're planning over the next couple of days so we can give you an accurate forecast for those plans. So here's what we're looking at over the next couple of days. It is definitely going to be on a beautiful side, but over the next couple days things are going to be on the chilly side as well, especially Monday, Tuesday, slowly starting to rebound. Taking a look ahead a little bit later on next week. But for the latest, here's what we're looking at outside. We'll start there and we'll take a look at our question of the day today. And again, join in on the conversations. I have our Fox local page up. We are on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. So we are going to focus on that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the tropics. I see Christina writing in on our Facebook asking about hurricanes. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but let's start off with our question of the day today. And this actually, I had one earlier. I wasn't necessarily a fan of it, but I was talking to one of our engineers a little while ago, and he was talking about how his dog got his name. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So pet owners, write in the comments, how did your pet get their name? We would love to know. I have a dog named Honey. Honey was not her original name, the name that I adopted her with from the shelter, and we'll kind of go into that a little bit later on. TJ is here today. He's filling in for Noah, and he has a dog. His dog's name is Gizmo. So I would love to know what allowed you to kind of pick, or what kind of inspired the name for your pets. So let us know in the comments. Again, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. Feel free to write in. We will show your comments a little bit later on in the show. But I'm excited about this one. We love our animals here. So we are going to kind of show them a little bit of love today, which I'm very excited about. Okay. Switching gears ever so slightly, because last night was a supermoon, and if you were watching Good Day Orlando earlier on this morning, we saw those tides high. 8 a.m. this morning, it was just Daytona because there was absolutely no beach out there. 76 degrees out there on the coast. You can kind of see that cloudiness if you take a look closer to the horizon. This is low tide. Usually this is where we see our high tide, or right at the start of this post right here. But today we're seeing those low tides significantly higher than what we normally see because of that supermoon that we had last night. And that is the closest supermoon that we've had in the year of 2025, which is producing those large waves and those high tides that we are seeing out there today. So 8 a.m. was the high tide this morning. 8:14 is going to be the high tide for later on tonight, and we're still going to be seeing those temperatures stay on the cooler side, but those waves are going to be high throughout the next couple of days. And with that, just because those tides were so high, we are also going to be seeing that chance of life-threatening rip currents, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But you can see here over downtown Orlando, it's kind of hazy out there. We're kind of seeing those fall silvery skies out there, and we're going to kind of continue to see that at least through the rest of the evening. A little bit more of that sunshine tomorrow, so that's something that we're going to be kind of clocking in a little bit more. But we are expecting a boundary to kind of keep those clouds around as we take a look at the weekend, maybe a couple spotty showers as we take a look at the weekend ahead, especially on Sunday. So Sunday, might want to have the rain jacket handy, but luckily those rain chances aren't looking high at all. So that's good news right there. Storm tracker radar. Right now, we are seeing a couple of scattered showers, mainly down more closer to the Bradenton area, down in southern Polk County, southern Osceola County. You're going to be seeing some of these showers throughout the rest of the evening into the overnight tonight. But anywhere basically south, north of Orlando, so Gainesville, Ocala, Daytona, Palm Coast, Deltona, areas especially like north of the I-4 corridor, you're going to stay dry through the rest of the evening. It's mainly just areas across Yeehaw Junction, Palm Bay, anywhere in Indian River County. All of this moisture that we're seeing over by Bradenton and Venice is going to kind of continue to push eastward, and this is why we're going to be kind of having that lower rain chance through the rest of the evening. So something that we're going to be tracking, but luckily nothing crazy. This isn't going to lead to any ridiculous rain totals like what we saw a couple of weeks ago. It's just very light rain of what we're seeing out there right now, and we're going to continue to monitor that, especially because, again, those areas that were just stuck in that training just a couple of weeks ago, it was just storm after storm after storm. Those areas quite literally got as much rain for what we see in Florida in a year in just in a couple of hours. So that is something that we're going to be monitoring, especially if we are going to be seeing that rain totals in Titusville, Cocoa Beach, and areas across central Lake County. Mount Dora is still seeing flooding, so something that we're going to monitor, especially if we are expecting rain, but luckily very low rain chances for the next couple of days. And we have TJ here.
Hi.
He just got back from our meeting. Here, you want to jump in?
I would love to.
Absolutely. Come on in.
Thank you.
Okay, question of the day today.
Question of the day. Okay.
Is-
Okay, I totally missed it.
We'll talk about this a little bit later on.
Okay.
But to get you thinking, how did your pet get its name?
Oh, that's a really good question, Laurel. So I have to say it's all because of the movie Gremlins. I'm like, like when I saw Gizmo, I'm like, he's like a little mogwai. He's a little gremlin.
He is.
I won't
He's
feed him
a
after
cute little
midnight. No,
gremlin.
I fed him after midnight. He was good. He didn't turn angry, which was good. But
He
yeah.
didn't have like those like little scary ones.
Yeah, so that was he was so dark when I first got him. He was really dark brown, and he's kind of lightened up as he's gotten older. So now he's not quite
got a
as
little white mustache now.
yeah. So that was my now. Did you already talk about how you got?
So I'm going to talk about that a little bit
Oh,
later
great.
on.
Okay.
I'm waiting for a couple of other comments coming in.
Oh, fun.
But
Perfect.
I figured you'd want to get in on the conversation.
Oh my gosh, you know I'm always down to get into the conversation.
And we're going to be talking about those cooler temperatures coming up after the break. We're going to have a quick break and coming up in a couple minutes. A couple of scattered showers today.
Yeah.
And through this weekend, maybe seeing a scattered shower or two. We'll talk about that after the break.
It's
as well.
great. It's gloomy out there. I mean, we've had a little bit of sun, but I feel like it's definitely been not as pretty.
Feeling like fall, which I'm okay with because I always used to love those like silver skies in New England, and I feel like that's just like a little bit of the season kind of setting in, even though it's 85 degrees out.
Yeah, I know that's so crazy. I grabbed my like fleece today. I'm like, I don't need it, but you know what? I'm in a fall mode, so I'm just gonna grab it anyway.
See, but that's the thing. It's so nice outside, but then when you come in the studio, actually it's a little on the warmer side.
It doesn't feel as bad today,
Crazy
yeah.
enough right now here in the studio, but usually it is freezing. Like my poor little fingers turn blue.
Oh my gosh, I know. We have blankets. We have our heavy jackets. We are always we don't have usually I feel like most studios don't have heat.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, we just kind of bundle up when we can and where we can.
And there's so many computers here, so the AC just needs to be cranking 24/7.
Lots of equipment.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a break in a couple minutes. We will talk about the cold coming up, but we kind of talked about what we're in store for the rest of the week. We'll take a look at the weekend. So if you do have any plans coming up this weekend, write those in the comments. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We're seeing a couple Facebook comments come in. We will show those a little bit later on. But yeah, it's going to be cold.
I feel like this is going to, especially having it so warm ahead of this system, it's going to be a shock to everybody's system, I feel like.
Was it Aerosmith that does a Shock to the Heart?
Oh,
or is that
I'm thinking of I might be thinking of the wrong song. The Bon Jovi, You Give Love a Bad Name.
It's
yeah.
Bon Jovi, right. But yeah, that's what we're going to be.
I had that album back in the day. I don't know what happened to it, but I had that album.
It is going to be a shock to the heart.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back on Fox Local, YouTube, and Facebook and get in on the conversation. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are going to be talking about the weather of what we're going to be seeing for the next couple days, because get ready. We are going to be on a high with this roller coaster, and then it is quite literally going to be how the Rip Ride rocket launch was. You are going to go straight up and then straight down, because it is going to be a plummet for sure. So let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty. And again, if you have not answered the question of the day yet, how did your pet get their name? And again, this was quite literally a conversation just before we popped on that we had with one of our engineers. He was talking about how his dog got his name, and I thought that would be a perfect question of the day. So write in on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. I'll be switching between the comments, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. All right, so here is what we're looking at for the next couple days of weather. Again, really stressing the fact, especially if you live by the coast, it is going to be chilly through the next couple of days because the wind is going to be blowing, but also more importantly, those tides are going to be high. We can see here, this is low tide right now. That water is really going to be rushing in at 8 p.m. About 8:14 is when we're going to be seeing the next high tide. 76 degrees out there right now, 8-mile-per-hour winds. We can see some scattered showers down by Yeehaw Junction, Bradenton, and then we're going to continue to see those tides stay on the high side through the weekend. So heads up, any beach plans, go during low tide, because there is not going to be really any beach, at least through the weekend. We are looking at a high risk of dangerous rip currents on tap, at least through the next couple of days after those waves kind of start to die down after that supermoon effect kind of slowly starts to calm down as well. So rough surf, 5-foot waves going to be starting to move in, and high risk of dangerous rip currents on tap through the weekend at least. Speaking of the weekend, here's what we're looking at. Temperature is going to be lingering throughout the upper 80s, and then we're going to slowly start to see those temperatures tank, taking a look at Sunday. So Sunday and Saturday, we get the warm before the cold, pretty much. So we're going to be seeing those temperatures throughout the upper 80s on Saturday. Sunday, we're going to be seeing a couple of scattered showers here and there. Boundary is going to be making its way across the region, kind of ushering in some moisture, sparking off a couple of scattered showers on Sunday, cooling our temperatures down ever so slightly. Compared to the cool down that we're going to be expecting, this is going to be nothing. But heads up, especially if you think 70s are chilly. We had that question a couple days ago of when do you think those temperatures start to feel a little bit cooler? Oh, I hope you're ready for this, because usually this is a graphic that we show in January and February, not at this point. So the polar vortex, a strong surge of cooler air, is going to be making its way down and across the Appalachian Mountains, down into the southeast, and this is what's going to tank our temperatures. Taking a look Monday, Tuesday, even into your Wednesday, and crazy numbers are going to be popping up, so just heads up. So here's just kind of an overview. Here is this boundary you can kind of see over Texas and Louisiana right now. This is going to be kind of an occluded front that's going to usher in some moisture, but it is this cold front that's going to be moving in on Monday that we're going to be expecting a couple more of those scattered showers to roll in, maybe a thunderstorm, but it's the cold air behind it that is the main story. So here's what we're looking at. That much cooler air is going to surge into the region on Tuesday. And the reason why we're going to be even seeing those temperatures cool down even more, because not only are we going to have that cooler air moving in, we are also going to be seeing a cloudless night. So clouds kind of act as a little bit of a blanket to the atmosphere. They kind of trap the heat that was built in during the day, and they quite literally act as a blanket. So you usually notice that when we have more of that cloud cover, our temperatures stay more on the mild side versus when it's a crystal clear night. All that radiational heat just completely gets lost to the atmosphere because we don't have a blanket. So Tuesday morning, we are not going to be having anything. There is not going to be a cloud in the sky, and as that cooler air pushes in, that's what's going to drop our temperatures significantly as that cold air just absolutely slams into the region. So here's what we're looking at. Let's take this through nice and slow. Usually normal average high for this time of year, upper 70s, low 80s, and just take a look. So areas especially across the Midwest, this is that colder air already surging in. So 41 in St. Louis on Sunday. And then as we take it through time, here's Monday, 30s in Birmingham, 22 in Lexington. These are temperatures that we normally see in the middle of winter in these areas. And then it just continues to push down. So Monday is when we start to see that cooler air kick in, and you can just see those temperatures dropping like a rock. I'm going to stop here. This is Tuesday morning. Whew. 32 in Montgomery, Alabama, 34 in Tallahassee, 46 in Orlando is what we're going to be waking up to Tuesday morning. And then that cooler air is just going to continue to kick into the region, and we're slowly going to start to warm up. But it is going to be chilly. We are going to be seeing highs in the mid 60s, which is normally our highs in like middle of January and February. So this is quite literally going to be a cold blast and a little bit of a taste of winter for about 48 hours before we start to warm back up. So a heads up, next week, especially Tuesday, is probably the coldest day that we've seen since easily January or February of this year. So that's kind of the timing of the cold air. And just to kind of put this into a numbers perspective, this is what we're looking at. Temperature is going to be in the mid 60s Friday, even Saturday and Sunday morning. So perfect for any outdoor activities. Monday, we cool down a little bit, temperatures right around 60 degrees, and then it just tanks. We go from temperatures in the 60s through for overnight lows down into the 40s. So it is quite literally just a roller coaster up and then the absolute slam down as we take a look at the next couple of days. So heads up, you will need that to break out that winter jacket. Taking a look out there Tuesday morning. We're going to take a break in a few minutes, but just to kind of wrap this up before we kind of switch gears over to the tropics and take a look at your comments, this is what our Tuesday lows in the morning are going to be. 30s in northern Florida, central Florida going to be throughout the upper 30s and low 40s, and lingering throughout the low 40s as we take a look towards central southern Florida as we take a look at the next couple of days. So reason why I mentioned this is because reptiles, especially iguanas, like to hang out in trees during this time of year when it gets cold because they're cold-blooded. They can't survive, or they kind of go into this stunned mode in temperatures under 45 degrees. So we could be seeing a chance of not only scattered showers, especially on Monday, but also maybe a chance of some falling iguanas because it is going to be so cold Tuesday morning. So heads up for that. You may see a couple of iguanas out there just kind of laying around, but they're not dead. I promise. They're just a little chilly. We're going to take a quick break. We'll take a look at your comments, and we'll take a look at how to take the best picture of the moon out there tonight. Coming up in a few. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are taking a look at our activity for the next 7 days in the tropics. We'll touch upon the tropics really quick. But one thing that I do want to say is that we are going to be taking a look at your comments. So answer our question of the day. How did your pet get their name. So switching back gears to our tropics conversation that we're seeing out there right now, no activity expected for the next 7 days. We in Florida have been really lucky this year. We have not had a hurricane impact us. But the season is not over yet. We are still watching a couple of zones out there, but no activity expected is for the next 7 days. So here's what we're looking at. We're going to be continuing to monitor those conditions out there. We are still seeing some warm spots in the Atlantic, and we do have the possible chance of some sort of development in the Southern Caribbean over the next 2 weeks. So National Hurricane Center takes a look at the next 7 days. The Climate Prediction Center takes a look 2 and 3 weeks out, and we have the possible chance of something brewing in the Southern Caribbean, taking a look towards the middle of November, and then taking a look at the end of November. We still have that possible chance, but Melissa really cooled down the water, especially in the areas across Jamaica and Cuba, so that is doing some sort of help. We are still seeing some extremely warm ocean water in an area of not so abundant shear, which is definitely the 2 ingredients that we are needed in order for a tropical storm to brew. We kind of just need that circulation. So that's kind of what we're just keeping an eye on in the Caribbean through the rest of November. Because again, we only are a couple weeks out from the end of hurricane season, so fingers crossed, things should start to quiet down very soon. All right, so there was a supermoon last night. We got a lot of pictures of folks, and it's still going to be looking full as we head through the overnight tonight. But heads up, king tides are still going to be impacting us through the rest of the overnight tonight. So 8 p.m. is when you're going to need to watch out, because those tides could be up to 7 feet. And when we had another supermoon at the beginning of October, those tides only came up to about 5 feet. So heads up, over the next couple of hours, 8 p.m., 8:05 p.m., and Trident Pier, Port Canaveral specifically. This is going to fluctuate, especially up towards Daytona, where we could be seeing 6 to 7 foot tides. Closer to the Canaveral area, we could be seeing about 5 to 6. We're going to be seeing about 4 foot tides near Port Canaveral as we head through the next couple of days. And then Friday, they're going to be even higher as that surge just continues to push in. So heads up, especially if you do live along the coast, kind of putting some numbers to that conversation that we had a little bit earlier on. So that's what we're looking at. And again, with those king tides, we saw an immense amount of erosion at the beginning of October. So we are going to not only see a high surf risk, at least through the weekend and through parts of next week, coastal erosion, as well as life-threatening rip currents. So personally, I'm a strong swimmer. I would be staying out of the water if I were you. If you do have any beach plans, maybe just hang out on the shore, but there's plenty of areas that you can walk around, especially boardwalk areas that are much more fun than probably the water. Surfer's paradise though, so if you know how to surf, these are definitely conditions for you. So let's kind of get into our question of the day, and if you missed it, it is what inspired the name of your pet? And TJ, who's right over here, you kind of talked about how Gizmo got his name earlier on. And so, again, if you would like to write in the comments, pet owners, how did your pet get their name? And we would love to know the story about that. But TJ, I want to bring you in because you have a dog.
Yes, and you have a dog.
I do. Let's bring you over here.
We both have doggos. We're both dog lovers.
And I'll pop up a comment that we have, because this is so sweet. We have somebody writing in on our Facebook page. And I'll pop that up in a second. But yes, your dog is inspired by Gizmo, the gremlin.
Yes. Yeah, the movie Gremlins, if you've never seen it, I feel like it's one of those kind of cult classics. But
Gizmo is the cute gremlin.
He's the good gremlin. He's the good Mogwai. Yeah, I feel like he's the one that saves the day. So
yes.
I saw him.
He's very cute.
Thank you. He's a sweet boy. Yeah, he has a stroller.
He does.
He does have a stroller. I was like, thanks, Mom.
He's very cute, though.
Yeah, I'm one of those dog parents, I guess.
You just love him greatly, though. That's
we
the thing.
We do. Yeah. We have Gizmo and 2 kitties at home, so we're a nice blended family.
How did your kitties get their name?
So that was all Eric naming the kitties.
Aww.
So they're unique names. River Song and Erebus. So
that's cute.
Yeah.
So Lauren Campbell wrote in on Facebook that she says that she has a kitten we recently got named Rue.
Oh, I love that name.
Love to be swaddled like Rue from Winnie the Pooh. And Kanga, the mom, and Rue is her baby son. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
That's adorable. Oh. Yeah, Kanga and Rue. We were a big Winnie the Pooh family.
I loved Winnie the Pooh.
Wasn't Winnie the Pooh sweet?
Yes.
Oh, bother.
That was good.
That pretty good?
That was good.
Yeah, my brother probably liked Winnie the Pooh even more than I did. But
so
yeah,
cute.
That's so sweet. That's great. I love that, Lauren. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So Honey, I adopted her from the shelter, and her shelter name. They had a whole bunch of dogs get rescued from a really rough situation.
I hate that. Yeah.
And so what they did, excuse me, is that they named all of them after Shakespeare characters.
Oh, I love that, Laurel. Okay,
Excuse
okay.
me, so sorry. And so what they did is they named Honey Cordelia, and a whole bunch of other siblings, I guess, that she came in with, like Juliet, Ophelia.
Oh, sure,
Helena, a whole bunch of Shakespeare names. So she was Cordelia when I adopted her, probably at about 8 months old, I think.
Okay.
And I couldn't pin down a name for the longest time because I was thinking Nala, maybe like Disney related.
Oh, Nala's cute.
Nala was cute. I was thinking Hazel, but I just kept, for like 3 days that I had her, I was like, I don't know what to call you. So I was like, oh, honey, baby, like just generic loving names. And I brought her into my last station, and there was a guest that came in, and she was making pies for all of us.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, this dog is sweet like honey. And I was like,
there it is.
There
That's
it
your
is.
name, sweet girl.
So she is Honey.
I love that. That's a really good story.
And she's
You're always
honey-colored, so it's just perfect.
She is, yeah. She does remind me of Honey when you look at her. Yeah. That's
She's
great.
a good one. But are you ready for this cold? Because I don't know if I am, to be totally honest.
You know what? It's funny. I was just telling. We have some friends that are visiting, not staying with us, but they're in Disney.
Yeah.
And from York area, originally Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
So Laura and I know that area very well.
Yes, we do. Go Bill.
Yeah. Woo! Our old alma mater. Our old college, yeah. They're down in Texas now, so obviously dry but warm. But here I said how like it's changed us. I feel like I get cold so much easier now.
Yes,
living
for sure.
living down here.
It's the humidity, I think.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy to think about all the scientific factors at play with that, and how it makes things feel definitely more crisp when it's raw and we have that moisture in the air down here.
It is going to be a dry cold. So I hope you have the winter gear. I hope you have the sweaters kind of picked out because you will need it coming up on Monday and Tuesday. All right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of the day. Join back in tomorrow, and if you have any weekend plans,
making it easier than ever to upgrade yours. American Standard offers full shower remodels, beautifully customized and installed in as little as 2 days.
Wow, gotta love that.
A fast install's a big plus.
Guided by a personal in-home design consultation, choose from 24 shower wall options. Stylish, grout-free, easy to clean.
No more grout to scrub.
Every shower is installed by factory-certified technicians, backed by limited lifetime warranty, including installation. And right now, save $1,500 on your bathroom remodel with no interest and no payments for 12 months. Call or scan now. 1-800-900-0658.
Want to see how it's coming along?
All set.
Wow, that was fast.
Even better than on TV.
Call American Standard today to start your shower remodel with $1,500 in savings, plus no interest and no payments for 12 months. 1-800-900-0658.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Weather Now. Thanks for being here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Ian Oliver. This has been some stretch in the Northeast, stuck in this weather pattern. Quick-moving systems. They've been potent, though. We had one move through last night, still dealing with the wind. There's another one in the forecast, and that's created more problems for Northeast area airports. We'll get into that. Severe storms, those could be problematic, dangerous as we move into Friday, trying to close out this work week. Central parts of Kentucky, almost up through the bluegrass, you've got some level of severe weather risk. But that level 2, all the way down through Middle Tennessee and Nashville is right in the middle of all that. So we'll take you through the timing. And the winter-like chill, this is an everybody thing. Everybody in the eastern half of the country, wait till you see how cold it gets. We think a number of records get broken by Tuesday morning. Let's start, though, in the Northeast. We know it was a windy morning for folks. A quick-hitting storm swept through the region, leaving thousands in the dark. In Pennsylvania alone, more than 60,000 customers were left without power during the height of the storm. Fox Weather's Katie Byrne is in Chatham, Massachusetts with the latest.
After a blustery and wet night in New England, winds are starting to ease up. Here on the Cape, gusts reached the 50-mile-per-hour range.
We've been weird the last couple of weeks. We've had a couple of them in a row, and we've had a lot of wind this fall period. We haven't had a lot of rain except for the last couple of weeks. I mean, in the summer, we went most of the summer. A lot of the towns weren't allowed to use any irrigation or anything like that because of the lack of water.
The weather is a reminder that winter is on the way. At the Chatham Fishing Pier, you could see flags snapping in the wind and trees and dune grass swaying with the gusts. We met John Humphreys as he was making deliveries around town. He says the wind was strong enough to rock his truck.
Very windy. Driving that truck is a lot of fun in the wind, and it blows you all over the place. Every once in a while, when you get a gust, it's like it'll actually knock you to the side one way or the other. And yeah, then you get a little white-knuckled and you're grabbing the steering wheel a little tighter.
And it wasn't just here on the Cape. The storm slammed parts of the Northeast, too. The winds toppled trees and caused power outages in Pennsylvania, where more than 50,000 customers lost power at the peak of the storm. Thankfully, fire officials say no one was hurt inside this RV camper that got crushed by a tree. The wind is now ushering in colder air, and tonight could be the coldest night of the season for many spots in New England, including Chatham. In Chatham, Massachusetts, Katie Byrne, Fox Weather.
All right, that's a live look now at Louisville, Kentucky. Abundant sunshine, looks good. Temperatures there, not pictured. It's not zero. It's warmer than that. Those high temps in the mid-60s. Different story, though, as we've got some active weather moving in to wrap up the week. As I said, let me get switched over to that. We'll get into the severe weather potential. This was what was going on across the Northeast. You got what's left of all that, the airport problems. You could see those lighting up the board behind me. Boston, Logan, still in a ground delay. We've got Reagan and Newark dealing with some issues related to staffing and wind, too. This is the severe storm threat into tomorrow. So you've got portions of Kentucky, much of the Commonwealth under some level of severe weather risk, but down into Nashville, Middle Tennessee, it's that level 2. I do think hail probably going to be the biggest problem with these, at least the most widespread hazard. Some wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. Outside chance of an isolated tornado or two tomorrow. Doesn't look like a very widespread hazard, but we'll be watching all of those storms for any indications of rotation throughout the afternoon and evening tomorrow. Into Saturday, this first front flattens out a bit. This isn't the one that sweeps through and brings with it what will be a legitimate taste of winter. This one, though, will keep things unsettled through the early part of the weekend into Saturday, with at least a scattered coverage of some thunderstorms. Handful of them could become strong or severe, so we'll be watching for those. There's the Fox weather model as we move forward through the afternoon hours tomorrow. Scattered coverage of storms in through there. Some of the strongest ones, powerful updrafts, can keep those hailstones suspended aloft. And with that, they continue to grow as they cycle up and down through the thunderstorm cloud. With that, they eventually get heavy and fall out, and that could be some big hail in the places that we were talking about. Later tomorrow evening, they lose some of their intensity. But as I was talking about, you can kind of see the shape of that front flattening out, something like that. And that'll keep this coverage more west to east oriented across the south from the Mississippi River or so, all the way points east to the eastern seaboard to the Atlantic, a scattered coverage of storms. But for Nashville, timing of this not so good. Late afternoon, closing time for work, heading home through the evening rush and into the early part of your evening. That's where you have the storm potential. So keep that as part of your plans, both for school, work, whatever you got going on for a Friday evening. Keep that as part of your plans. That's 7 o'clock local time. Those storms are dropping off to the south and east. Just one of those evenings where you're going to want to know where those storms are at. Keep the Fox Weather app handy. You can track them yourself. That is a look at Tallahassee, Florida. 78 degrees, bright blue skies, some cirrus clouds aloft. That's a really good look. That's what you're looking for at this point in the season. In early November, that's a real nice day. We've got big changes coming, and with that, a whole Every now and then, winter invades down south. This is going to be one of those times. The first time, a lot of firsts down across the southeast moving through the next several days. So right now, flow is zonal, west to east. We've been talking about that. Little disturbances, little but potent. We've been dealing with those in the northeast last several days. We get a high amplitude dip, a trough in the jet stream that allows cold air, the coldest we've seen so far this season, all the way down from Canada, and it just takes over. You can see the progression of that with these temperatures. These are freezing or lower, freezing or colder. 52 million folks wake up to that Sunday morning. 174 million people wake up to that Tuesday morning. So yeah, that cold air takes hold. And part of why this is such a big deal is the southern extent of that cold air. It effectively makes it down to the Gulf Coast. Those areas don't get a frost, but just immediately removed from where the warm water is, you've got some frost, and just north of that, you get into a freeze. So this is into Tuesday morning. We are expecting some record cold. Places like Jacksonville down to Lakeland, Florida, interior parts of the Tampa Bay area. Look at this. You've got Tallahassee and New York, two cities separated by 950 miles. And yeah, Tallahassee expected to be 5 degrees cooler than New York. That has everything to do with wind direction, that north wind pumping down the cold air over Tallahassee. Average first freeze there is November the 21st. So this would be way ahead of schedule. Coldest you've been so far this year is 36. This is a half a dozen degrees colder than that. And more important than the 6 degrees is what 6 degrees on opposite sides of the freezing mark. Coldest we've been in New York so far is 43. So that still will be the coolest of the season so far, to my point, but not quite what they're actually going to get into down south. So that is an interesting aspect of this. Monday morning, you see the cold starting to move in. Tuesday morning, the coldest of the bunch, it's just completely taken over. Savannah down to the freezing mark. That's the record I was talking about. Jacksonville, Panama City could be somewhere just shy of the freezing mark. That is some serious chill into the early part of next week. Chill's good for ski season. We're heading in that direction. Winter is on, and so is the Fox Weather Ski House. We're back for more action-packed winter adventures. Bob Van Dillen kicking things off at Deer Valley Resort in Park City, Utah. That place is awesome. The first ski house of the season is coming up Wednesday, December 3rd at noon Eastern Time. That's only on Fox Weather. And in the lead up to Veterans Day, that's coming up on Tuesday, Fox Weather is honoring the men and women of the United States Armed Services that keep us safe and defend our freedoms. Let's take a look at the weather at Otis Air National Guard Base in Massachusetts. Picked this because we had checked in with Katie Byrne down in Chatham. This is right up the road. It's a little bit off to the west of where she was. So a shout out to the Cape. You've got the forecast here, partly cloudy for tomorrow, but with that next storm that moves in, they're feeling that pattern shift too, from 60 tomorrow to a high temperature of just 35 degrees come. That's the refresh. What was the old one?
Wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say that's not what we were expecting to say. Wait a minute. That's more like what we were talking about with the cold air down south. Strike that, reverse it. We got 53 tomorrow. You've got milder conditions into the weekend. Doesn't get anything close to that for the second half of the weekend. So a revised and improved forecast for you right there at Otis. Fox Weather proudly salutes our nation's veterans and the organizations that serve them. Veterans Day is this coming Tuesday, the 11th, and all of our veterans deserve to live with dignity and independence and not out on the streets. That's why you see this. We are making camo our cause in support of the Honor U.S. Vets campaign. You can join us by making a donation and wearing camo this Veterans Day. Post yours on social with the hashtag HonorUSVets. To donate and learn more information on how you can help U.S. vets prevent and end veteran homelessness, you can visit the link you see right there on your screen. It's go.fox/USVets. Coming up next on Fox Weather Now, strong atmospheric river, dropping some snow on the UC Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab. This is just one of several atmospheric rivers that have been moving ashore over on the West Coast. a break of some drier weather with sunshine included returning for the weekend. We got more Fox weather coming up. Keep it here.
Spending all my time just thinking about you. I don't know what to do. I think I'm falling for you. I've been waiting all my life and now I'm finding. I don't know what to do. I think I'm falling for you.
It's time now for Fox Weather Deals, where we bring you exclusive discounts on fantastic products just for you. To start shopping, scan that QR code on your screen or head to foxweatherdeals.com. And joining me today, lifestyle expert Courtney Kaysen to introduce us to today's deal. Courtney, always great to see you.
It's so good to see you. You and I were just talking about the busy life that is New York City,
yes.
and this is now attached to our hip. It's our personal assistant, it's our office, and if that's the case, you absolutely need a Rush Charge Universe because it is portable power on the go that's got 3 points of connectivity. You can talk on the phone, take meetings, all while it's charging. You're getting up to 26 hours of additional talk time or 15 hours of additional internet use. I love this because, like, if you're talking safety and, like, your kids are out at an event or there's bad weather and there's no power, this is your lifeline. There's no cords to worry about. Everything is built on board, and it gets to come home today with fabulous colors, red, white, and blue.
I love it.
Plus the limited edition American flag, and it's $39.99, saving you 50% off.
And multiple devices can be attached to it at one time.
Which is great with kids because now there are no arguments. You get a port, you get a port, you get a port.
We all get a port. Courtney, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And of course, if you want to purchase what you saw today and so much more, you can always scan that QR code on your screen or check out foxweatherdeals.com for so much more.
For info.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Weather Now. From Seattle down to San Francisco, wet weather has been pounding the Pacific coastline throughout the week. These atmospheric river events, we've got another one approaching. You can see it with those winds still offshore. So we're kind of in the middle for now of what was left of the last one, still producing some big wind gusts through northern parts of the Rockies, Montana. You got Great Falls and Billings gusting up to around 40 miles per hour. Through tomorrow, look at some of these wind gusts. Seattle, Portland, down to Gold Beach, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts can be expected. That's moving through this afternoon, this evening, 5 o'clock local time. Widespread coverage from Northern California up through Oregon and Washington. Most of the states of Washington and Oregon are seeing some rain through the latter part of the evening into the first part of the overnight. And from there, it drifts farther off to the east. A little bit of snow up across the northern Rockies. Then there's one more system back to the west moving into the weekend. Nothing like the intensity of what we've seen over the past few days. So the rain's still to come. This is not as significant as the last atmospheric river in this chain, but the cumulative effect here is part of that problem. When you've got some fairly widespread pockets of the darker green, it's another 1 to 2 inches of rain. So be especially aware of that because these spots have gotten soaked over the past few days. All right, as they say on X, tap and load this in 4K. It's wallpaper material type stuff, no question, and one of, if not the most gorgeous natural phenomenon in our night sky. The Northern Lights, or Aurora Borealis, stunned flyers last night on a flight from Denver to Chicago. On your screen, right there, that incredible view of the aurora from the flight. Auroras are the result of geomagnetic storms that are generated by cosmic rays from the sun. You can see some of those charged particles interacting with the magnetosphere, and depending on what molecule it is, you get some different colors. They dance around, and it turns into this magnificent display. So let's learn more about this and what it was like on that flight. Joining us is the photographer of the pictures that you were just looking at, Dr. Ryan French. He's a solar physicist, an author and research scientist at the Lab for Atmospheric and Space Physics. That's out at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Ryan, I'm kind of an aisle seat guy typically, so I can move around a little bit. This feels like it was a window seat situation. What was that like?
Yeah, this was definitely a window seat kind of night. If you're on the aisle, you would have missed this. If you're on the opposite window facing south, you also would have missed this. It was great. So I'm a solar physicist. I researched the sun for a career. So I sort of knew what was going to be happening. And periodically after we took off, as soon as we took off over the clouds there, I started taking pictures of my phone, waiting for the aurora. And your phone will see it before you can. Your phone camera, if you just set your camera on for a few seconds, you'll capture those beautiful colors. I tried to share the excitement with those around me. A few people were interested, a few people not interested or couldn't see it or didn't know what they were looking for. But no, it was fantastic.
So that was actually my next question. I'm going to go on a limb and say that you were the only one on the plane with a PhD in space weather. That's probably a fair assumption. Did folks know? Were you telling people on the plane that you were expecting this, or were you expecting it at all? Was this just a lucky thing?
We were expecting it as scientists. So the sun is in a very active period this week in particular. Last night we had a strong geomagnetic storm. You introduced those beforehand. Tonight, again, we're expecting a strong geomagnetic storm. I think probably the person next to me has no idea what that means. I sort of tapped him on the shoulder, showed him my phone, said, "Hey, look, this is out the window right now." But again, unless you're right on that window, it's difficult to see. And being on a plane, the plane is moving, the cabin lights are on. Probably not ideal situations to be looking at the aurora. Definitely not ideal situations, but still really cool to see.
Yeah, you're reading my mind. I'm wondering, cabin lights. Typically, folks are going absolutely as far away from cities and any type of light pollution as possible. How vibrant was it? Was this the iPhone telling the story, or was this pretty easily detectable to your eyes?
Yeah, so you can see strong aurora even in light polluted areas, but it's very, very challenging and it's got to be really, really bright. So to the eye, you can see something. It sort of looks You can't see the colors, so you can't see the green and the reds, but you can see sort of what looks like a misty sort of arc in the sky. And I could see this was moving a little bit, so I could tell that it was the northern lights. But unless you're somewhere really dark, you're not going to see those greens and those reds with your eye. But even if you have some light pollution, you can still see the faint white, and your camera or even your phone will pick those colors up.
So in your travels, in your studies, where have you been chasing the aurora? It's on my bucket list. I've tried a couple times and struck out.
Yeah, so the furthest north I've been to see the aurora is in Svalbard, which is an island in the Arctic north of Norway. But I have seen it here from the US. Last year in May 2024 and October 2024, we had some severe and extreme geomagnetic storms, so much stronger than what we had last night and what we're expecting tonight. And I saw them from Colorado. So you don't have to go north to see these things. Sometimes the northern lights will come to you, but you've got to know when that's happening, and you've got to be ready for it.
I may have to reach back out to you to get the spelling of that place you went to in Norway. I am most certainly in pursuit of this. Yeah. And as you told us, it looks like a bunch more folks will have an opportunity once again tonight, perhaps into the weekend. That's Dr. Ryan French. This was a really cool thing. We appreciate you taking the time to tell us about it on Fox Weather.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. We got storms, windy conditions across the Northeast last night into this morning. More stormy weather working its way through. We want to get you updated with what we're expecting as we roll through what's left of today, what's left of this week, and then the coming attractions like we've been talking about moving into the weekend. So overnight, there's that next area of low pressure. It's going to be bringing unsettled weather across the Great Lakes. The southern part of this, which we will show you, that's the part that generates the severe weather potential. Again, up in Ontario and Quebec, it's another shot of some wet snow in the mix. But you see that rain-snow line well off to the north of the border with Canada. So most of it is up into Quebec and then the Atlantic Canada provinces. That's the rain that sweeps in tomorrow evening. So this is something to plan for your Friday night, depending on what you have going on across the Northeast. Farther off to the south, down that front, which you'll see in just a moment, that's where some of those thunderstorms could maintain the intensity. First front comes on through. The next one, this is the leading edge of the big-time switch-up in the overall air mass. That's effectively the border of the pattern change right there. As this moves through, you see a little burst of some snow possible right there across parts of the Great Lakes region. So we'll be watching that for you moving through the weekend. Gets to be an interesting time of the year when you've got cold enough air in the mix to get that rain-snow mix and even a switch over to just snow. But it's also the time of the year where we've got a south wind off of the Gulf. It's still muggy. There's still plenty enough energy to produce strong and severe thunderstorms. We're expecting some of those too. From central parts of Kentucky down into middle Tennessee, Nashville up to almost Louisville, that will be the zone where we're most concerned for some large hail. Damaging wind gusts are possible. There's a small chance of a tornado. So throughout the afternoon, the first part of the evening tomorrow, we'll be watching radar closely, looking for any indication of rotating storm. So that'll be about this time tomorrow here on Fox Weather Now. Here's the Fox Weather model showing you just that. The scattered coverage of storms firing up through the earlier part of the afternoon, peaking in intensity late afternoon through the evening. And then with time, this gets hung up. Some storms into the first part of the weekend, the first half of it down across the south. A couple of those could turn strong or severe with some damaging wind gusts as a result. Then the cold comes crashing in. So plan for this. Sunday, 52 million folks, mostly across the northern half of the country, wake up to below freezing temperatures. By Tuesday morning, it's the whole eastern half of America, 174 million people waking up to below freezing temperatures. That does it for this hour of Fox Weather Now. Don't forget to download that Fox Weather app. Easy way to track the cold and some of the storms closer to the weekend. Right now on Fox Weather, a few seasonal firsts ahead for parts of the Midwest and the interior Northeast. Some lake effect snow bands making a return to the forecast. They could accumulate in spots. We got a big pattern shift taking place into the weekend. We'll show you that. And this switch up will allow cold air to take over the eastern half of the country. We're expecting the coldest air of the season so far to pour in over the next few days. Breeze extending down into the deep south. It's by Tuesday morning. Some record low temperatures possible as far south as Florida. Places like Jacksonville, Lakeland, looking at you. We'll show you how far south it gets and how long it hangs around. Plus, severe weather is back in the forecast.
From Fox 35 Orlando, you're dialed into the 407.
Welcome to the 407. I'm your host, Marlisa Goldsmith. It may be Friday Eve, but we are not slowing down around here. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We've got a taste of the 407, a family affair, and Lauren Margolis.
If swimming with dolphins is on your bucket list, now is a fantastic time to try it. We're taking a dip to show you what to expect ahead of Black Friday deals at Discovery Cove.
Go ahead and choose the news. See this little QR code? Scan it. We have 3 wild stories that are buzzing across the internet right now. You can also head to fox35orlando.com/your407 to cast your vote. Just pick whichever news story you want to see. First, a dog lion on the loose. Or was this just a big mistake? You'll see what sent some people running. Or the tallest case of the zoomies. What sent this baby giraffe into an all-out frenzy? And a literal trash panda. This may be the cutest transport ever. Whichever story gets the most votes, we'll reveal later in the show. Again, that website, fox35orlando.com/your407. It is time for our top 4 at 4. Here are today's 4 most talked about stories. First up, a local restaurant handing out free food, making the 407 oh so proud. Next, check your cash. There's funny money floating around. And third, quitting smartphones for dumb phones. Fourth, the Starbucks cup craze hits a new low. Russ Rollins from Real Radio's Monsters in the Morning is joining us on this Thursday. Hi there, Russ.
Hey, Marlisa, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, real good.
Good. I see your beard is flourishing.
It is.
Doing
looking pretty
great.
good, right?
It is. All right, let's get into these topics here. First up, this truly is a story that makes us all so proud to live here in the 407. A restaurant in Daytona Beach called Kale Cafe posted they'd be giving out free food yesterday to anyone who needs it. Well, things went so well, Russ, they decided to make this a weekly thing because some people are just having a hard time financially between the disaster in Jamaica and locally the government shutdown impacting SNAP recipients. I mean, when I saw this story, it made me smile.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people in the world if we just look, right? We talk about the bad all the time, but there's a lot of good people in the world, so that's awesome. It is sort of a shame that we have to do that in 2025. You know, in America, richest country in the world, we have to give free food out because some people aren't getting paid. That's sad, but the positive is there are good people that always step up to help, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Well, while we're on the topic of money, you might want to check yours because multiple sheriffs are saying movie prop money is circulating around the state. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office posted a $100 bill on Facebook. You have to take a look at this, Russ. The paper bill has stamped on it for motion pictures purposes. So could you imagine handing this to somebody and they catch you trying to pay for
that
the
would
groceries
fool
or something?
me. That would fool me every time because I don't read the fine print and it's written just like it's on a dollar bill. I wouldn't. That would fool me 100%. I would end up taking that and going somewhere and passing it off, and then I get arrested.
Yeah, I was going to say before you make it to your car, the police are telling you to turn around and put your hands behind your back.
Yeah, Mr. Rollins, you're passing a fake $100 bill. I had no idea, sir.
Crazy. The Key West police, they also put out a warning a few weeks ago about the fake 20s that have the nerve to show Andrew Jackson smirking. What in the world?
I know, but it's not. You know what? I saw that picture. Is it that much of a smirk? I don't remember if he was smirking or not before. You know, I would be so confused. What movie did they use that in? Because that's really realistic looking.
I mean, I guess when you think about it, they have to make it look realistic when this prop money is used in movies, right?
I mean, I don't know. Instead of like, instead of Benjamin Franklin, you could put Frasier or somebody, I don't know, like a celebrity.
You would think, and then just don't get any tight shots on that. Yeah, this is insane. So note to self, Russ, check all of your money before you go spend it at the store.
I'm gonna go check it right after we do the show here.
Good. I don't want to get any calls. Russ can't do top 4 at 4 today. He got arrested for passing off fake dollar bills.
Right, yeah. It'd be my luck.
All right, third up, people are joining a new club. So guess what the prerequisite is, though? You have to give up your smartphone. You know that new one that you just got, Russ?
Yeah, that ain't happening.
You got to give that up. The movement started in D.C. at a bar that made people go phone free. Now they're trading in their smartphones and giving the dumb phone one, which is basically just a flip phone. And there are weekly dial-in radio programs for them to listen to. All right, so it sounds like you're not interested in this.
No. So what is that? So they're giving them a dumb phone?
Yes. They're taking them back in time. Here's the thing. I feel like for people like me and you, we came from a time where we didn't have access to these. So we're not trying to go backwards. But for the new generation, that this is all they know, they kind of want to relive our past, essentially.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know, man. I enjoy my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to go backwards. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
I'm with you on that. You know what else doesn't make sense to me, Russ? This situation happening at Starbucks. They released their holiday menu. We're talking peppermint mochas, caramel brulee latte, and the iced sugar cookie latte.
Right.
Does it sound good to you so far?
All of it,
okay.
Yeah. And I love the cups, the whole thing.
Oh, well,
I like
you
it all.
just wait. You wait until I tell you about this. It was these cups that stole the show. They're called Baristas. Pretty cute.
Oh, yeah.
Well, people were lining up hours in advance for these, but they were almost impossible to get their hands on. We both know someone who's pretty upset about this. Any idea who it could be?
You?
Well, I am, but I didn't try looking for one this morning. Our producer, Kendall, we want to bring her in. Yeah, here's the Kendall cam because she actually tried to get one this morning. And Kendall, how'd that work out for you?
It was not good. I showed up at 6:30 like, okay, I'm here early, I'm gonna get it. I asked the lady, I ordered my little, peppermint mocha because 'tis the season. And I said, do you have any of those barista cups? And she goes, no. People lined up at 4:30 in the morning.
And then how many did they say that they got in, Kendall?
Only 2.
2.
Oh.
Now, Starbucks knows that they are wrong for this. They are so wrong for this.
And our other producer, Christine, was saying she called a bunch in Kissimmee, and they only also got 2.
So, okay, you know what that is? That's creating the demand.
Absolutely.
So now everybody wants one. So now it'll be the hot thing of Christmas time. It's brilliant. It's genius.
It is.
It is, yeah.
But I'm still mad about it, though.
Me too.
If I get one, Kendall, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'm way up in Winter Haven, so they might have them out here, but I think it's really adorable. They are cute.
It is cute.
They're so cute.
Okay, that's our mission. We have another 2 months to try to get our hands on one of these. I think we can do it.
They'll start putting more out, so that way you'll go. Yeah, it'll be a thing.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it. All right, Kendall, thanks so much. And Russ Rollins from Real Radio's Monsters in the Morning, thank you for chatting with us on the 407.
Have a wonderful weekend, okay?
You do the same. All right, there are so many fun things to do here in the 407, but sometimes they can get a little pricey. But do not worry, we've got some pretty good deals for you. Discovery Cove is offering 50% off visits through 2026 as part of their early Black Friday sale. Lauren Margolis shows us the dolphin-filled adventure.
For many people, being up close and personal with dolphins is definitely a bucket list moment, and that's exactly what we're getting to do here today at Discovery Cove with Riley and Dot. I am so excited. You guys have a lot of Black Friday deals going on now, so it's definitely the time to book. You want to tell us a little bit about Dot here?
So Dot is 21 years old. She was born in our care. She's lived here at Discovery Cove for a very long time. She meets a lot of guests a day.
Wow, what is the lifespan of a dolphin?
So out in the ocean, the lifespan is about 15 to 20. Here at Discovery Cove, we have dolphins that are almost 60 years old. The oldest known dolphin was 63, and she was at SeaWorld, Texas.
Oh my gosh.
So we're hoping Dot lives into her 60s as well.
That'd be amazing. I'm hearing all the noises she makes.
They make all of those sounds from their blowhole right here, and we can actually ask her for some if you put your fingers up like this and bounce them up and down. That was a really good one. It's a waist deep program. We'll bring you guys in the water, teach you about how we care for these awesome animals. We'll get you guys some photos with her. You get to do a side-by-side glide. We're swimming through the water with them.
I never realized how far back their eyes are.
They are, yes. They do have a little bit of a blind spot in the front, but they do have echolocation that they send out through their forehead.
For those that have never felt a dolphin, how can you describe this?
Yeah, I think she feels like a hard-boiled egg with the shell peeled off. One of the most important behaviors that we work with our dolphins is a tail fluke present. So this right here, we'll ask our dolphins to roll over, and our vets can come and get a blood sample from our animals. This is one of our most important husbandry behaviors that we do with them to make sure that they're nice and healthy.
So, Riley, what is the silliest behavior that Dot does?
I think it's her tongue wiggle.
Oh, that's cool.
Which, as baby dolphins, they use for nursing.
Latoya, Roxy, and Dot are about to give us a grand finale, so take it away, ladies. I'm so excited. Wow. That's amazing. And all synchronized too. Good job. Black Friday deals go on now until November 28th, so you can come out, get a wetsuit on, and check this out for yourself. I'm at Discovery Cove in Orlando. Lauren Margolis.
Wow, that looks like so much fun. Tickets start at $150, and remember, you get 50% off. There are tons of other pre-Black Friday deals. Head to bestoforlando.com/pre-Black-Friday. We're talking $60 off Disney tickets and saving on places like the Kennedy Space Center, the Crayola Experience, and so much more. All right, we still have a lot more to get to. We're talking numbers with Orange County's money man himself.
I also had ambitions of being a professional football kicker. I love to kick.
Really?
Yeah, and I could kick like a 35-yard field goal, but I see these people out there kicking. The guy from the Jaguars kicked a 68-yard field goal, I think, this weekend. And I'm thinking, man, that's probably why I never got that far.
You know Phil Diamond, the Orange County Comptroller, but you've never met him like this before. And a family affair. Another fair opening today right here in the 407. What $10 will get you. Money talks, but it don't sing and dance, and it don't walk. Today, we are talking with the money man himself, Mr. Diamond.
Reaching out, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good.
No, not that Diamond. Phil Diamond, the Orange County Comptroller. You know, the 407 numbers guy. The man we talk to when we talk about the tourism development tax. The guy who is all about the money.
Yeah, what can I do for you, Ron? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family model. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
Phil Diamond is dialed into the 407 this afternoon. Hi there, Phil. So good to see you.
Good to see you. I love the Neil Diamond and Jerry Maguire references.
Oh, I'm so glad that you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed baking it. Thank you so much for being here. All right, what do you say? We get down to business and talk money.
You bet.
Listen, Orange County saw a 1% jump in the cash it gets from the tourism development tax compared to last September. So what does this all mean for the county exactly?
Well, it's good news. You know, the tourist development tax is probably the best indicator of how the tourism economy is going. And if you're a small business that serves the tourism industry, or you're driving a car, or you're working in a restaurant, or a hotel, or whatever, that's good news. That's 40% of our economy right there. So that's a big deal, and it's nice to see the numbers going up.
Yeah, speaking of economy, you know, right now we're in a time of uncertainty for a lot of people with the government shutdown impacting Orlando's airport. So if this goes on much longer, what does this mean for the holiday season? Because we all know Orlando is always a top destination for tourism during that time.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think what it means for Orange County tourism, it's not going to be good if the shutdown continues. I mean, let's be honest. We've heard about airport delays. We've heard about air traffic controllers not coming to work. And if you have flight delays, if you have canceled flights, if you have airports that might be closed or partially closed, that's not a good message to send to people that are thinking about coming down here.
But listen, when we talk about Orange County's contribution, I don't think a lot of people realize how much that actually is. We're talking more than $200 billion, making it the 26th largest economy in the country. So how in the world do you manage that?
Well, it's a challenge. I think the important thing is to keep things on an even keel, keep things going as well as they can go, being alert to, what I can say as far as the tourist development tax is that Mayor Demings and the county commission agreed to require a certain amount of reserves here. That's something that I advocated for because I think it's important to always have the ability to handle an emergency, to handle a problem, to handle things that might happen.
I wanted to ask you really quickly about some of your favorite things to do in Orange County. I know you just mentioned a lot of the attractions we have. What do you like to do?
You know, I really love being outside. I love hiking. I love places like Mead Gardens, Wekiva, the Wekiva State Park, Kanawakahatchee State Park, the Orlando Wetlands Park. I've become a pretty good pickleball player.
No way.
Yeah,